Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back to All Jokes Aside. With me today, as always, is my lovely, lovely co host.
Hey guys, it's Maria, and we actually have a guest on this episode, Holden.
Hey guys, I'm Holden. I'm a friend of Kobe's. We worked together a while ago, and he brought me on because this is my nerdy special interest.
Yeah,
So,
our shared nerdy special interest.
Yeah, today's episode is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be talking about D&D.
Yes, we're talking about Dungeons and Dragons today. Uh, okay, so just for some background, Holden recently introduced me to D&D. I kind of always wanted to get into it, but it was it was the winter of 23.
I would say so, yeah, like
Yeah, yeah,
December.
yeah.
Yeah.
December of 2023, Holden finally asked me to play for the first time, and I always kind of wanted to, but like growing up in a small town, it's hard to find people. I mean, even nowadays, it's hard to find people to play with, and like schedules getting matched up. I always wanted to do it when I was little because I always thought it was like I was always interested by it. I didn't really know what it was, but it still like interested me. But now that I'm like old enough and I've finally gotten to like play, it's so addicting. It's just fun.
It is one of the most addicting things that you can do with your friends,
Yeah.
besides drugs. Besides drugs.
I don't know. I feel like it's great. I always have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
It gives me like what's the word I'm looking for? I don't. It's like a guilty pleasure. I don't know. It's just fun.
Is it the word like pheromone or something?
No, no. It's like serotonin. A little bit of serotonin.
Yeah, yeah, that word.
Get that dopamine hit
All right.
from rolling
Yeah.
the dice.
One of one thing I feel like D&D, especially when you play D&D, is when you talk about it, people have mixed reactions. Because I feel like if you're not a part of like the D&D community in quotes, like if you don't play, I feel like you have a different outlook. Maria, very raw and unfiltered. How do you feel about D&D? Like what's your opinion on it?
Okay, so how I know what it is.
No, no, no. Like
Um,
what's your like unfiltered worldview on it from like the outside looking in?
I see it as something that not everybody would like, but if you do like it, it's very, very fun to play.
Okay. How we are structuring this today is I asked Maria to list me down a couple questions of like maybe misconceptions or like just things that she's curious about, like playing D&D or like how does this work. I was just curious about like stuff that someone that doesn't play D&D or like that doesn't understand how it works, like what they would ask. And me and Holden
Mhm.
are going to answer those and kind of talk about it more on like a broad scale.
Cool. Yeah, I got some questions.
Okay,
They're
let's
not
start
too
with the
crazy.
questions, and then me and Holden have a couple of other things that we want to talk about.
Okay. And I kind of feel like you may some of these questions are kind of linked together.
Hmm.
Um, so you may answer two in one without knowing.
Okay.
But I'm gonna ask this one because it's kind of like square one. So like, is it like a board game or? I mean, I understand you probably have like a board, or is there more of like, you know what I mean? Like, does it look like? I know it doesn't look like Monopoly, but
Right. I know what you're trying to say.
yeah,
Do
yeah,
you want to?
The very first time I played D&D was with a paper and pencil at a picnic table on a Boy Scout camp. It's not a game that you really need a board for. Um, it just kind of exists as a loose set of rules
Hmm.
Mhm.
that are very flexible that you can kind of do whatever you want to do with. And all
Gotcha,
you really need is a way to write down stuff.
Right. Yeah.
gotcha.
So basically, there's the players and then there's the DM, dungeon master, game master, whatever you want to call it. They basically set the rules because each DM can have a different set of rules. I mean, there's like of course the rules of like D&D and like how you play and what you do and stuff. but a lot of that is based on the DM about like what they set and what they do. And I mean, like some DMs will have certain rules or like house rules than other people do. It just depends. But all the players will have like a character sheet for their character, and that's like their stats, their inventory, like stuff like that. It's just numbers to like help the game go along. Like um Maria, if your character was how am I trying to put this? If your character is smarter, then they're gonna have like a higher intelligence, or they'll like be better. They'll be better at doing certain skills. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's all like the role play aspect of it. But yeah,
Right.
um you can just play like with paper and pencil. You can play online. You can just play on your like using your phone. Like you really, it's just what Holden said. You just need to have something to write stuff down with.
Okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah, it's not like so like some people buy like figures to like put on the board during like combat or like role play scenarios just to like help you picture it, but it's mostly like in your imagination.
Yeah, because when I think about D&D, like the first thing I think of is Stranger Things because that's the first
Right.
time I'd ever heard of it before.
Right. And
And I know that
they use the board and
yeah,
figures.
yeah.
Right. And it's like you
That's
don't
what
have to. It helps like put the like puzzle pieces together.
gotcha.
It's just to enhance like what's already kind of happening. Like put
Right.
a visual
It's
to
it's
what you're
it's to make it more
describing.
immersive, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And they're younger too. So
Right.
like they probably yeah. Okay. Um okay. So my next question is how does the game start out? Like what is like I guess if you're starting like a brand new game, what is like the first steps that you have to do before you start?
It's like the age-old question, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, I think I have a good answer to this. Okay, playing D&D to me it feels like you're a character in a movie or a book or a TV show. So your DM is going to basically tell you what's going on. Your DM is kind of like the script. Your DM tells you what's happening, tells you where you are, tells you who's around you, what's going on. And like it's a very it's a very like interactive thing. So like say the DM will be like, you wake up in a room. It's
So
up
they're
to
kind
you
of
to
like
be
the
like,
stage instructions for like a play.
what?
They kind of act as like like the stage instructions for a play.
Exactly. Like they lay out the set for you and then you ask them like, "Oh, is there like if they tell you you wake up in a room, it's like, "Okay, is there a door? Are there windows? Did I wake up in a bed? Like what else is in the room? Is there anyone else in the room? Am I by myself?" It's like that kind of.
And
Mhm.
you know, to start a game of D&D, all you really need is three people together that want to play. It's not the most complicated process in the entire world,
Yeah.
but it can be as complicated as you want it to be.
Yeah.
If the DM or GM or whatever, I'll just call it the DM.
DM,
If the
yeah.
DM wants to create this like super in-depth Lord of the Rings style story, then yeah, that's going to take a lot of time to put together.
Yeah.
But if you just want to play a casual game of, hey, let's hit stuff and let's just, have some fun, then all you really need is just some time.
Yeah. There's not like, and also, so Dungeons and Dragons, like they have like set stories that you can go by, and it's like, okay, you just make your characters. This is what you're doing. This is where you're going. Like it basically does the whole adventuring like story and stuff for you. You're just playing through it, or you could do what we call it homebrew. It's like where the DM makes up everything, and they just so like you can either buy a like adventure that's already made and just like a module you can play through that, or the DM can just create everything from scratch, like create their own story basically.
Mhm.
But the short answer is a tavern. It always starts in a tavern.
Usually, yeah. So a tavern, a bar, a pub, whatever you want to call it.
Gotcha. So like what is the ages called? Whatever they're like at
Middle
the
Ages.
knots and all that.
Yeah. It doesn't always have to be, but it's just the easiest. I mean, like that's what it's most like associated with.
Yeah, and it sets the scene.
Right.
Cool. Okay, so my next question, how many people can play?
You can play uh with two people. I
Yeah.
mean,
If you wanted to, you could play with two people.
I've done that before, and it's a really like interesting way to play
Yeah, it's very
because
different.
yeah.
Mhm.
But I would say if you wanted to have like the for real like D&D experience that you see in the movies and the TV shows, you probably need 3 to 4 people,
Hmm.
3 to 4 to 5 people.
I would say 5 people
Yeah,
because the DM and then 4 players.
yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
the you call it a party. That's like the what do you call it? The generic. That's like the generic grouping.
I would say
It's
the most
it's
standard.
yeah, the most standard. Yeah, 4 players and one DM, so 5 players. But I mean, honestly, you could have more than that. You could have honestly, it depends on the DM. It also depends on like what you're playing. So like if you went to go buy a like preset module, it tells you how many players that it's like suited for. But I mean, it depends on the DM. The DM can change it.
It's also the more
Gotcha.
people you add in, the harder it gets to run.
Yeah,
It's more rules, it's more things happening,
it's harder to set up because you have to get more schedules to line up.
but it can be the most fun.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, because bouncing off of each other, it's like because D&D is a lot like improv. It's just the DM says, "Hey, this is where you are. This is what's happening," and then it's like you kind of just yes and it. You have to go along with it because
exactly.
I mean, if they tell you there's a dragon in front of you, there's a dragon in front of you. Like you can't just. I mean, you can leave, but if the dragon's gonna follow you, you know what I mean?
Right. Hmm. Okay. So do I guess this question's kind of like the DM. You said it was called the DM, right?
Right.
Yes.
They make up rules for like the dragons side, or is there like new rules every round, or is there like an understood rule for like every
Okay.
dragon or whatever?
So there's a D&D like rule book that like goes in depth about everything, but a lot of it's just like common sense. Like it's kind of like yes, it's like fantasy, but a lot of stuff is set out. So you can look up like dragons in D&D and D and like pull up their stats and like what they can do. Like some breathe fire, most can fly, but not all. Like it's like stuff
Yeah,
like that.
that's sort of what I'm asking. Like,
Yeah.
do they make up those powers, or is there like a set thing? And then like how the characters react to that, do they make up what they do, or can they only pick from a certain list of things to do?
The cool thing about D&D is that there is no list of things to pick from.
Hmm.
It's just straight up like your raw improv of the moment is what happens.
Right.
Um, and D&D rules is a lot like Monopoly. You know, you can follow the rule book, but everybody's got some house rules. You know, free parking,
Right.
getting all that tax money. I mean, that's not in the rule book,
Hmm.
but it's pretty similar to DMing or playing D&D is if you don't like a rule in the rule book and everybody that you play with wants to change it, you can totally change it.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So basically, like what you said. You were like, is there like a list of things to choose from, or is there like stuff that you have to pick from? It's kind of a mixture of both because so D&D for me is split into two phases. There's the role play aspect where you're like, oh, I'm in a town, like let me go talk to people, let me go find out what's going on. And then there's the combat aspect where it's like, oh, there's a dragon, we have to kill it. It's like you can do whatever you want as long as it's realistic for you to be able to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like Maria, let's say you're in D&D and let's say you're playing as yourself. So you're Maria. Maria can't cast spells because Maria's not a wizard. You're Maria. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maria, so you can't fly. You can only walk so far before you get exhausted. You can only be punched so many times before you can die. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's kind of similar. It's like, but also it depends on. So I'm gonna use the dragon scenario again. So let's say there's a dragon. Um, and let's say you are a wizard. You can cast your spells against it. Say you're like fighting it by a mountain. You can cast them on the mountain to try and cause a landslide or a rock slide or like there's so many things you can do. You just have to like think of it. And a lot of times um a lot of times it is dependent on the DM because I know some people it's called the cool rule where DMs will let you get away with whatever as long as it's cool. And I know a lot of people are okay with stuff like that.
Gotcha. So I guess sort of kind of if the DM likes you, then you have a better chance at winning.
There is no winning D&D.
Yeah, there is no winning.
It's it's more
Oh.
about just sitting down with a group of people that you like and doing something
Yeah.
that you all like together.
This is so cringe, but it's not the destination, it's the journey.
The
Put that on a
coolest
shirt,
part
Kobe.
Shut up.
Put it
podcast
on a
merch.
shirt, not a
Podcast
mug. Put
merch.
it.
I mean, it is the truth though. Like a lot of times in D&D, you have like your main in quotes, you have your main quest or you have side quests that you're going to do or whatever. But I
Hold on, let
mean,
me grab
like
my
it really
tissues.
is just like the fun of D&D is just playing it. Like playing it is so fun. I can't like it's a really hard thing to describe if you haven't played it before. It's just getting down with your friends. It's I mean, it is very similar to playing board games. It's just like sitting down and you're having a good time, you're just rolling dice and you're just goofing around and having fun. It's a lot of fun.
It's like watching a TV show that you never want to end.
Right. No, it is a lot like it feels a lot like you're in a movie and you're the characters in a movie. Like it
Yeah.
really it really does feel like that. It feels
Yeah.
like and so you're sitting there and you're thinking like, okay, well, I'm in this, like how am I gonna move the plot along? Like how am I gonna continue the story? It's like that.
Cool. Okay, so this kind of leans in then to my like last question because you answered a couple questions with one uh in one
What were
go.
they? I'm just curious.
Um well, I don't even remember what I asked. I asked you what if you made up powers for characters, right?
No, you didn't.
So that was the one that you answered.
So there's like a whole character creation like part of D&D that happens at the beginning. So um like when you're starting D&D, your DM will like set the stage basically, and then you create your character, and then you tell your DM like what your character is. So it's like there's different races. So there's not just humans. There's like humans, elves, dwarves. Like the usual stuff you see in like Lord of the Rings, Middle Ages type stuff. But I mean, there's others too. But like you pick a race and then you pick a class, like wizard, rogue, fighter, like stuff like that. Um, and then based on you have different things that you can do if you pick a human, you're good at like weapons because we have um
Knowledge with that sorta.
right. Well, I mean I was gonna say like military and like soldiers and stuff. Um if you're an elves are pretty good at magic because they're more like they're elves. That's just
Mhm.
like their thing.
That is their thing.
Yeah. I mean that's
Jesus.
what elves are known for. They're known for like magic-y.
It's true.
Yeah. But it so like if you pick a human and you're playing a human, you're gonna be better suited for weapons, but that doesn't mean that you have to use weapons. It's just like how do I'm trying to compare it to something and I can't think of it. Um, Maria, you've played Call of Duty, right?
Like once or twice.
Okay, you know like how they have like um you know in Call of Duty when you're playing online and they have different like presets for you to choose?
Yeah.
It'll be like specialist and it'll give you like a sniper and it'll be like assault and it gives you like a machine gun.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. So for
Gotcha.
like different things that you pick, you're better at certain stuff,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you don't
Sort of like
necessarily. But right, you can shape it to any way. It's more of the role playing aspect. But I mean,
yeah.
yeah,
Sorta kinda like when you describe that to me, it makes me think of like the different cars that you can pick in Mario Kart where like some of them are
yes,
good at uh some of them are good at drifting, some of them are good at acceleration, stuff like that.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. That's probably better than what I was trying to convey.
Yeah. I get what you mean.
But you can be a
I smell what
masochist
you're
and
thinking.
Yeah,
you can be a masochist and pick Bowser and the worst cart and try and race Rainbow Road, you know.
yeah. You can do that in D&D. You can pick like I don't even have a good. I don't
Yeah.
even have a good. Uh.
That's the thing about classes and races in D&D is that it's so customizable.
Yeah.
So
You can
um
fit any niche that you want to.
like I want to be a little rock gnome warlock that works for the patron god of when you flip over rocks and there's worms underneath them. You know, I mean, it's whatever you want it to be.
hmm
Um, that's the I think that's just the coolest thing in
Yeah.
D&D is it's whatever you want it to be.
It's just fun and like it can also be as serious or unserious as you want it to be. It just
Hmm.
depends on the players. I mean, like you could be so serious and be like, "Oh, we have to do this or the world's gonna end," or you can be like everybody can be playing as food. Like I could be playing as French fries and Holden could be playing as a burger and we're fighting pizza.
And then we have a really tough scene about why our burger dad needs to stop drinking. You know,
Basically sausage party is what y'all are describing.
Yeah, and then we go mug an old lady.
that would actually be really fun. I would totally play that.
Food game,
I would
Food
definitely play
D&D.
that version.
food fight.
I want to be a poached egg.
I want to be macaroni and cheese.
I would definitely play that version.
Oh, it's a crown of candy.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was.
Yeah, that's what we just. Wow.
Um, no, Maria, I need to sit down. I need to make you play a one shot for like 2 hours of D&D and just see what you would do. Cause
Hmm.
I feel like D&D it's not for everyone. I think it is something that everyone should try at least once. Just in my opinion, because it's definitely not for everyone. But I feel like a lot of people would be surprised by how much fun they actually have like playing
I would
it.
have fun. I think I would have fun with it, but
Yes, I think with you, you're a very unserious person, so you would have to play it very unserious.
yeah.
Like you would have to be like, okay, our goal is to rob a bank.
Oh yeah.
And our goal is to rob a bank by any means necessary, or like we have to make this amount of money as fast as possible. Maria's like, does that old lady have a purse?
Yeah.
Can I mug her? Can I hold her at gunpoint?
Start selling counterfeit Rolexes.
Oh my gosh. All right,
um,
yeah, so you definitely answered that one, the make up the powers.
uh-huh.
And then the other one that you answered along the way was if there were game pieces.
Yeah. It's just the game pieces, currently I don't have any, but I want some really bad. Like there's like spell cards you can buy, there's figurines that you can buy to like have on the table. I know a lot of people like 3D print their own and like paint them.
I buy them 3D printed and paint them.
Yeah.
It's
No,
the
I
cool.
could get you some 3D printed.
What is it?
I started to say I could get you some 3D printed.
Oh, that
Yeah,
would actually be awesome.
that would be cool. We should do that.
I have a full red dragon that I need to paint that I've been working on for like a long time. He's so big.
Um,
Anyways,
yeah, continue, Maria.
Okay, so this is my last question.
Okay.
I know you said that nobody can win.
Uh-huh.
So I guess my question is like, is there like a point system? Like, how do you know it's the end of it? Is it just sort of like you just play until you don't want to anymore and you kind of just sum it up when you want to? Or,
I think I think all of those can be true. I think what happens most of the time and how a campaign ends, or in theory should end, is when you come to a good point in the story where you feel like everything is wrapped up nice and neat and everybody's gotten their ending, right?
Mhm.
So, like, hey, this whole campaign, we've been gearing up to fight this big bad guy that's just been, just whooping our ass for the last, year of us playing this campaign.
Mhm.
But when you finally kill him, the campaign's probably over.
Yeah.
Um, and that's not to say that it has to end or that it doesn't have to end. It's just, I feel like when the group and the DM has decided that it's time to put a bow on this, kind of like a TV show, you know?
Yeah. That's why I keep referring to it as a TV show because I feel like it's a really good analogy because a lot of D&D is a gray area. Like the rules are a gray area, how you play is a gray area. Um so you have your campaign and you can just like say like Holden said like you have this big bad. Let's just say it's a dragon. I'm going to use the dragon again. Let's just say there's a dragon, and the dragon is the big bad final boss, and you've been playing for however so long, and you finally get to this dragon and kill him. You could end the story there, or you could be like Netflix and renew the season, and
Exactly.
you could keep playing for as long as you want to, or like Holden said, how you can like eventually like wrap up the story if you feel like everything is going good. It's kind of like just multiple seasons of a TV show, and then once you run out of ideas or you feel like you don't want to play these characters anymore and you want to move on to something else, it can be a lot of reasons.
Gotcha.
I feel like the few times that I have DM'd, me personally, I make the ending first
Hmm.
and then plan backwards. Um, I think it's just like writing a book or like writing the plot outline for your story, right?
Hmm.
You you want to have some goal in mind.
Right.
Um,
I've done that.
some or just some really cool idea that you want to happen at some point, and then you build off that and
Hmm.
eventually you come up with an ending
Hmm.
because no story is really complete without an ending. So, you know, ending a campaign can be awesome. It can suck. It can be the coolest thing ever.
Hmm.
It really just depends.
Yeah. That
Maria,
makes
did you
sense
say?
though.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just saying like that makes sense though because like you don't want it to end the same every single time. You wouldn't play it if you knew how it was going to end. You just kind of go along with the
Exactly.
flow.
I okay, so that was all of your questions, right?
Yes.
Okay, I do want to say you didn't have any questions or mention dice at all. Are you because dice like the rolling dice and all that is a big part of D&D.
I
Did
love
you?
my little shiny math rocks. They're awesome.
I
Oh,
love rolling dice. It's so fun. Were
so to
you
be
just?
honest, I didn't. I completely forgot about them.
I figured.
I guess kind of at this point, I kind of assume now that you've mentioned them,
Hmm.
I assume they're kind of like if you roll this, then you have to deal with this. Or like the DM's going to be like, okay, you chose to do this to the dragon. If you roll a 3, then it succeeds. If you roll a 4 and up, then it doesn't succeed. Something like that.
You're on the right path.
That's surprisingly accurate.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You're not on the mark, but you're not
Surprisingly.
far off.
You said surprisingly.
Well,
Well, I mean, you don't really know anything about it, so I mean, a lot of people, like even people that start playing for the first time, they're just like, okay, what do I do with this?
I played with a guy in college, the brief duration that I was in school. Um, and he had never played before, and I was like, it was our first fight, and I was really excited to like, get these like group of people together and play this game. And on his first attack on the first enemy, he crit and asked if he won. He was like, "Do I win? Like, can I go home?" Essentially. And man, sorry. So that's just what I'm used to dealing with.
Yeah.
Oh
Is people
wow.
who have no idea at all. And that's not bad. I
Yeah.
love getting people into
It's
D&D.
it's part of the fun of it.
It's like crack cocaine. Getting someone into D&D and then seeing them buy all the dice and everything, and you're like, it's just the best feeling ever.
It
Like
is
when they
fun. I love my
roll, it's
pretty
like when they
dice.
roll, you'll look at them and you'll go like, "Feels good, don't it?"
It does.
It actually is so satisfying. Like when you roll that dice and you're looking for when you roll your dice and you're looking for that big number and you hit it, it is so satisfying.
Oh my gosh,
It
nothing.
also hurts when you roll low.
Yeah, when you're about to lose a fight and you crit and kill the boss, oh, it's the best feeling
It
ever.
feels so good,
It's
yeah.
like,
Or like everyone's about to die, everyone's got like 2 or 3 or 4 health left and has been
mhm.
down multiple times and everyone's about to die and then you finally like kill the boss or like kill the last enemy that's been like oh, it feels so good.
And if you want like a technical explanation, there's this dice. It's called a D20, and that's just the amount of sides that it has. So it has 20 sides. And when you're rolling a skill or you want to hit somebody or you want to, jump across a gap or something like that, you roll a d20, and depending on how good your character is at that specific thing,
Mhm.
you add or subtract numbers from the amount that you rolled.
And you get those numbers from the character that you created. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So if I'm a human fighter who's only good at long swords and I try and cast a spell, I might know how to do it, but I'm probably not all that good at it. So my chance of succeeding is lower.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and you basically roll that d20. It's not every action that you take, but it's almost everything that you do, you usually are going to roll that d20. So like Holden said, if you're trying to jump over a gap, or let's say you're talking to someone and you're lying to them and you're trying to see if they believe your lie or not, you'll roll that d20. Or if you're trying to let's say you have this big old nasty ogre trying to kill you, you'll roll to see if you hit the ogre or if you missed or if he blocks it with his shield or whatever.
Mhm.
And higher number is better almost
Yeah.
all the time.
D&D is like it's such a weird thing to explain because it can get so complicated. It's just one of those things where it's like you kind of just have to like not go in blind, but like just with a basic understanding and it helps just the more you play.
It sounds like a cult until you see someone play it or you play it for the first time.
Yes. My first time playing D&D, we bribed this soldier with a can of beans so that he wouldn't tell on us.
I remember that. That was funny.
Funny. That's funny. But they didn't have canned beans then.
Well, in our universe they did.
Rule of cool.
Mm.
It was kind of funny.
Yeah,
So,
it was funny, so he let it happen.
yeah, pretty much.
Here's
if
That
you
this
make
soldier
here's
was
this
so happy to
very
get those
rare
fucking
can of
beans.
beans.
if you make me laugh, you'll probably be able to do it.
Maria, I think that's what you would do in D&D. I think you'd be like, "Is there a restaurant nearby?"
Can I give him a
I'd probably
Werther's
say, "Here's a
original?
Big Mac."
Oh, also another thing, in my first campaign that we played, we almost got we went to a club for some reason and almost got killed by zombies. And then afterwards, instead of like progressing the plot or like trying to figure out what happened, we went to go find the nearest Waffle House to find the dwarf version of Lana Del Rey.
And then I played Doomer Jazz in the background. And
Oh my
there was a
gosh.
picture of poorly drawn man smoking a cigarette, looking very sad in the car on the
it was
screen
great.
behind me.
It was a good time.
And I think y'all just trauma dumped in this Waffle House. It was really funny.
It was really funny. It was funny too because you were like you guys don't want to like
Go back or
tell the guards or like
yeah.
go investigate what happened. It's like no, we just want to go to Waffle House.
Imagine this. You're just a regular old dude that goes to a nightclub and you get attacked by ferocious zombies and you kill them all, pick up your stuff and leave and don't tell anybody.
Yeah, we didn't tell anyone. We just left and went to Waffle House. We were tired and hungry, and we needed to go to Waffle House, and we needed to go see Lana or
That sausage, egg, and cheese hash brown bowl at Waffle House will do that to you. I understand that.
I needed some bacon really bad.
Yeah.
Whole house is only good when you have trauma.
Listen, it was a near death experience. Okay, I passed out. My character passed out.
Yeah, that Waffle
Yeah,
House
that's what I'm
black
saying.
coffee
Like
just
Waffle
makes it
House
all
is
better.
perfect for that.
Yeah. So
Love
you don't
that.
have any more questions about D&D?
I don't think so. That's all I could
Okay.
think about.
If something comes up, just let us know. Um,
Okay.
Holden he had a story that he wanted to tell.
Oh, actually, I'm going to start with asking you a question, Kobe.
Okay.
When was the moment, either when you were playing or outside of play, that you really thought that, wow, this is awesome. Like this is a really cool thing to do.
I don't want to say it was the first session because I think the first session I was hooked. No, actually, no, it wasn't the first session. It was the second session.
Mm-hmm.
It was the second session because it was me and my ex at the time and our friend Gracie, and Holden was our DM, and we met at this like it was like a tavern, but it was like a tavern in combo. So like there was like I'm kind of explaining this to Maria, like so you know what's going on. So it was like it was like a hotel with a bar in it, but like olden times, right?
Mhm.
Um, this was I want to say it was the second session. It was one of the first few sessions we played, but it was me and my ex and Gracie,
Mm-hmm.
and we met at this like bar.
The Rockin' Inn.
Yeah, the Rockin' Inn. And we're at this bar, and these guys come in, and they were just like super angry and started like trashing the place. So we decided we were gonna beat the shit out of them. And basically, they beat the shit out of me and my ex, and Gracie hid the whole time and murdered them all. While like it was like four guys, it was a 3v4, and me and my ex both went down, and Gracie just slaughtered them all. And I said, "Wow, I literally died almost. Like I passed out and was very close to death, and I barely did anything. And I was like, "This is awesome."
I'm glad you felt that way about it.
No, I was kind of like beat up at the time because the character that I was playing was supposed to be the one to like go in first and like kill everything and take all the hits and like it's fine guys, just help me out. And that didn't end up happening and it kind of just subverted my expectations like a shit ton, but it was worth it. It was so fun. And then we kind of just got to this point where every fight after that was just rinse and repeat. It was I would go down and then my ex would go down and Gracie would save the day and we kind of just got into that rhythm, and it was just fun. I don't know, not much else to say about it.
I think Gracie clutched almost every fight.
She did.
Mhm.
Besides that one fight where we like we all died, and you were just like, you didn't die.
That was planned.
I know, but it's still. I was still no. I want you to know after that big fight, I like that's a fight that made me like sit up at 3 in the morning thinking about like how we could have done that differently or like I had shower thoughts about that being like man we really died and we could have done this and we could have done this and it's just so much fun.
And I want you to know that was some of the most fun DMing I've ever had.
Well,
Was that
we
fight.
we did have a good time.
That was great.
We had
Yeah.
fun slinging through that little dungeon with Nifty, my little
Yeah,
raccoon.
that I drew on a piece of poster board or
Yes.
something. Yeah.
And you guys all hated Nifty for
I never hated Nifty. I
Okay.
don't know where I don't know where this rumor started. I just gotta get my case out there before Kobe explains himself. Kobe had a familiar named Nifty. And
Nifty was a raccoon, and Nifty was my best friend and my baby and my pet. But also, I don't know.
and I let Kobe have Nifty, and I encouraged him the entire time. And Gracie makes one little snide comment about Nifty, and suddenly everybody hates
It wasn't
Nifty. It's
one
the
little.
world against Nifty.
It wasn't one little snide comment. It was constant. It was constant Nifty slander from Gracie. Okay,
Well, I don't know.
Maria, you had
What
to
did
be
she
there.
say?
I had to constantly. I had to constantly defend Nifty like 24/7 to the table.
What did she say?
It was just like, well, I was okay. So basically, having a familiar in D&D, it helps you out a lot because they can help you. They can help you roll better. Um, they can like do stuff for you. It's like it's having an extra set of hands. It's very helpful, right? Like, would you rather have one person trying to do one thing or two people trying to do one thing? I mean, I
Right.
guess it depends on the situation,
Or
but still,
a person and a raccoon.
right. But like you understand, right? Two's better than one.
Yeah.
So I would always use Nifty, be like, hey, can I do this? Can Nifty do this? Can I have the help action? And Holden's like, yeah, of course. And Gracie's like, oh my gosh, can I have the help action? Can I have the help action? Nifty this, Nifty that. She was just jealous she didn't have a familiar, okay?
She could have got one.
Yeah, she could have.
Mm-hmm.
She just didn't want to.
She
I
just
wasted
didn't
a
want to.
whole feat so I could get Nifty.
You did.
And it was worth it. And I was gonna get a steed, and you never let me and then we stopped meeting. But I was gonna get a wolf.
I had a
It was gonna
huge
be
plan for
awesome.
that, actually.
I know. I was very excited, and then we went to court. D&D's crazy, Maria.
They did go to court and explain democracy to
Yeah,
us.
we went to Waffle. We almost got killed by zombies. We went to Waffle House, and then we did this big heist, and then we all almost died. And then we woke up in the Elf Kingdom in this giant like treehouse city. Then we went to court. We were almost assassinated. My raccoon was there. Okay,
Gracie found out she was a princess.
Gracie found out she was a princess.
She did.
After all she wanted to do was get her can of beans. We
Oh,
almost died. What was his name? The giant bird.
Oh my gosh, I don't remember.
What was it? His name was like Doug or something. We all almost died. We all jumped. So we were in this like treehouse city. Like it's a giant treehouse. So we're like up in the air, right?
hmm
We're all like I don't even remember what was happening. I think one of us jumped or we fell.
It was you.
Yes, I fell.
Yeah.
And so we all tried to do this roll to like
Not die.
yes, basically to like summon this giant bird. Gregory,
That's what it was. It was great.
there was this giant bird that we flew on at some point, and his name was Gregory. And I'm falling out of this tree to my death, right? And I'm like, please, I'm gonna roll for this so we can get Gregory, right, Maria? So I
hmm
roll to get Gregory. I fail, and then I think my ex
I
was
feel.
next. He rolls to get Gregory, fails. So now both of us are falling out of this tree. And then Gracie rolls to get Gregory, and we finally succeeded. And we were like, thank God. And Gregory saved all of us. Praise Gregory.
I think that was one of the moments as a dungeon master in which I really had to think on my feet because
Dude, you were face palming.
I didn't want all of my friends' characters to die, and they had just jumped off a giant tree.
We literally just like Maria. We're basically at the top of a skyscraper, and we're all jumping off and screaming at a bird to come pick us up. Basically,
And it worked somehow. I can't believe I let that
to
work.
put this into normal people and not nerd terms.
Right. Right.
Well, um, my story.
Sorry to derail.
No, uh, I
We
like
had
my
to bring up
answer.
Gregory
No, I mean Gregory is important.
and Nifty.
So I guess to answer my own question of when I fell in love with D&D, I actually have two answers,
Mm-hmm.
and I can give you either the coolest moment I ever had playing D&D or a really sad long story
Mm-hmm.
that I'm gonna let you guys pick.
Mm.
I'm gonna
You
let
pick,
Maria
Kobe.
pick.
No, you pick. You know
No,
more.
you pick.
The first
You're the
one.
outside looking in.
The first one.
So I think the coolest moment I ever had in D&D was I was playing. It was the first time in my life I had really, I think, the maybe it was the only time I'd played D&D where I was old enough to care.
Mhm.
Um, and I was in college with an old high school buddy of mine named Garrett, and he was DMing this campaign, and I was playing this race called a Warforged, which is essentially like a magical robot. Um, I was playing a Warforged artificer, which is basically just like a magic blacksmith kind of guy.
Mhm.
Um, and I had gone through this campaign that had spanned 2 semesters at college, and at the very end of it, my war torn Warforged, we're fighting the final boss, and it's this giant dragon at the top of this tower, and we're just wailing on this thing. We're just like doing so much damage, absolutely, we think destroying it. And I think, yeah, one of the other party members had landed some crazy hit and chopped off its tail, right? And the dragon, instead of, we think, oh, we just won, we chopped off its tail, it's gonna die, blah, blah, blah. Um, Instead of that happening, the dragon decided to fall over and knock the tower down. And now we're all falling, and none of us have a spell to help us, none of us have anything. And I ask Garrett, I say, can I shield them with myself? And then I had a spell, that I can't remember the name of. Oh, I had created a tiny bubble around myself,
Mhm.
essentially. And they all fell in that, and I kind of like absorbed all the blow.
Mhm.
And my character died at the end of this campaign. And I went home that night, and I kid you not, I cried for about 3 hours because I was so upset that this Warforged that I had played for almost going on a year had just died. And the campaign kind of continues on without me
Mhm.
for a long time. And he decides to bring me back, I think like 2 months later. We had been talking about it, like trying to figure out the best way and all this stuff. And I came back as basically my body was um taken over by plants that were like feeding on this magic that fueled me,
Mhm.
and I became this giant tree kind of monster thing instead of a robot. And just getting to see everybody's reactions when I was literally hiding in his apartment in the bathroom.
Mhm.
Nobody knew I was there,
Mhm.
and he starts narrating this scene of me like, like something's weird is happening with my body, and then blah blah blah. And then I like slam the bathroom door open. I walk out, and I've got a character sheet and my dice in hand, and I'm like, what's up guys, y'all ready to play some D&D? Like, I think that was probably the coolest moment that I've ever had playing D&D, was just getting to absolutely shock everybody, come in, make a big show of it and everything, and it was just so fun to play again.
It's
So
so fun. I love D&D.
I love D&D.
Love
Maria, did
that.
you? Sorry, what'd you say?
I said love that.
Did you think of any more questions just in case?
Nope. You answered everything.
Okay. I'm trying to think if I have anything else. Do you have anything else that you want to add?
I can tell my other story if y'all have time.
Yeah, we have time.
Um, the moment I really truly came to, I think, not just think that D&D was just something that I do every now and then to have fun, but actually like really really got into and kind of became a big part of who I am.
Mhm.
Um, in college, I did absolutely miserably terrible.
Mhm.
I had terrible, undiagnosed, unmedicated ADHD. I couldn't get any of my work done. I was flunking out of school, all this stuff. And my only escape from just like the constant terribleness of my day was every Saturday night. when we would meet up and play D&D, and I got to hang out with my friends and kind of get that little escape from reality that I think I had like been craving at the time. And sort of going into the end of my second and last semester at college, I was severely depressed. I was about to, lose my dream of, getting to graduate with my major and go on to do what I wanted to do. And I got really into uh, Dimension 20 and Dropout, which is a huge source of like D&D. Basically, you can watch other people play D&D, and they're really, really good at it, and it's awesome to watch.
And it sounds boring just watching people play D&D, but it's really fun.
It's more riveting than Breaking Bad. I don't. It's some of the best like stuff you can watch. I think on the internet, and I got really into that, and I was playing D&D with Garrett, and basically, you know, being so depressed, I had this like really in-depth talk with myself about whether or not I wanted to keep on going, like as a person. And I think one of the things that really got me out of that hole was just realizing that life isn't all bad and that you can have fun with your friends sometimes and play this really, really cool game called D&D. And it's some of the I think it's the best thing you can do with your friends. So anyways, that's my big sad long story.
It is fun.
It is.
I
It's great.
I agree. When we had our first campaign that we did together going, I looked forward to Tuesdays because that was also, I feel like, I wouldn't say I was depressed, but I would say I was less happy at that point in my life than I am now. And I always looked forward to Tuesdays. Like Tuesday was like the highlight of my week. Like I was like, I get to sit down with my three friends and play D&D, and we all get to talk and hang out and like go out and get something to eat first. Like it was such a good thing to look forward to every week. It was like, this is my dedicated day to hang out with these specific people, and then we also get to play D&D. So it was just great. It was like two birds, one stone.
Yeah. And you can also work out some really serious trauma in D&D if you want to.
No, literally. Daddy issues beware.
You ever
Love
wanted to
that.
argue with your parents but not in real life? Well, I have the game for you.
That's
Um,
cool.
I'm trying to think of anything else like D&D wise, but I feel like we covered it all, or like not everything, but I feel like we covered the basics.
Could talk about D&D for I think 3 or 4 more hours. Um, it's just it's such a broad spectrum.
It is. It really can just be. It really is just up to perspective. It's whatever you want it to be.
I've seen people play Dungeons and Dragons as a spin on what's that TV show? Bridgerton. Literally
Drummer.
seen people play D&D to enact like a Regency drama in their house. I just think that it's one of the most like versatile games. I think I could literally sit down anybody, and if I got what they wanted down, I could make them enjoy Dungeons and Dragons.
Mm-hmm. All
Yeah.
right. Well, I think that about wraps up our topic. Maria, I got a question for you. What'd you eat today, girl?
Oh gosh. So what I ate, let's see, for breakfast, I had they're called muffin tops. So it's like just the top of a muffin. They're actually really good. I had that for breakfast, and then for lunch, I had a Subway sandwich. Turkey. I think I had that last week, didn't I?
You did. Because
Yeah.
I asked you what you had on it. Because you just said a
Yeah.
Subway sandwich.
Yeah, it was a turkey sandwich, just, pickles, mayo, um, jalapenos, stuff like that. My muffin top was a 9 out of 10. My
Love a good muffin
Subway
top.
was my muffin top. My Subway was you're gonna get me giggling. Now my dog's barking. And then my Subway sandwich was probably a 9.5 out of 10. It was actually really bussin' today. It was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And then I made dinner tonight, and for dinner I made Chinese food. I
Ooh.
made sesame chicken with homemade fried rice and homemade crab rangoons, and it was a 10 out of 10 because I'm a good cook. And then I had some Hershey's squirts. I mean Hershey's hearts before the podcast.
You're
And
not
those
just
were
I
those
also
were a 10 out
usually
of
get
10.
Hershey squirts after Chinese food.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I ate today.
All right, Maria, do you have your song of the week ready?
You go first. Let me get mine pulled up.
You know what? I'm gonna go kind of what do you call it? Not old school.
Throwback.
Yeah. I'm gonna go kind of throwback on this one. Not like too far in the past, just like 10 years ago ish. My song of the week is West Coast by Lana Del Rey.
Say that again, you cut out.
West Coast by Lana Del Rey.
Oh, 10
Let
years
me
is like only a decade ago, so I
yeah.
mean
Too long?
Yeah,
um
love me some Lana.
mine is I've been listening to End of Beginning again by is it pronounced Dejo? Dejo?
Oh, the dude from Stranger Things?
Yes.
I think it's just Joe.
Joe Keery. Joe Keery. Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Oh, I know what you're
He's
talking
awesome.
about. That song
Yeah.
that's on like every
Yes.
like feel good TikTok
Yes.
where it's
And I'm
like my
pretty sure
dog's
he's
gotten
actually
so
coming
big.
out. He's coming out with an album. I'm pretty excited for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, that's my song of the week. I've been having it
Holden,
on replay.
what is your song of the week to make you feel more included?
I'm gonna go with an absolute party classic.
Okay.
Um, I'm gonna go with "Bottoms Up" by Trey Songz and Nicki Minaj.
Okay.
Uh, if you ever really want to get turned, I think it's just the best song.
Let me get that Coke.
Turn.
Let me get that Henny.
Exactly.
Let me get that margarita on the rock, rock, rock.
He understands me.
I do. Nash wants some salt all around his rim.
That's surprising
Nash,
that Cody can
I'm
understand
sure you
something.
guys heard it. Nash, wanted to barge in. He heard us talking about D&D and started screaming to get in here.
And now he's laying
Yeah,
on me.
if
Yeah.
y'all heard me giggling in the background, that's what I was giggling about. I was giggling at Kobe's cats.
He said, "Let
They're going.
me in, bitch."
He's going.
All right. That's gonna do it for this week. On all jokes aside, I hope you guys enjoyed listening to us ramble about D&D while Maria sits there with a gun up against her head. I mean, willingly.
No, it wasn't bad. I actually
Yeah.
kind of liked it.
Well, I'm glad. I kind of want to get into this, like where we do this every now and then, where you
That didn't sound
introduce
too
me,
convincing. I'm sorry.
where I do want to do something where it's like you introduce me to something that I don't know anything about, and I kind of tell you something you don't know anything about. I think that can be really fun. Like, not like not like brainwashing you or like being like, I like this, so you have to like it, but just kind of explaining to you why I like it and why I'm into it.
Yeah.
I think on next week's episode, y'all should talk about why vaccines are bad.
We should talk about why
Wow. What?
women over 50 shouldn't be pregnant.
Exactly. You can hit it all in one episode.
We should talk about why gay people shouldn't exist. Oh, self-report.
You,
I'm kidding.
you know what we should? You know we should do an episode about like I guess kind of like arguing about something. Not like in a bad way, but
Like a
like
debate.
Ranking
like a
fast food.
Yeah,
debate, like
debating.
convincing the other person this way, whatever.
Oh my gosh,
And
Maria, we're gonna get heated.
it doesn't have to be like anything like political or anything like that. It's just something
Yes.
like
No politics on the pod.
it should
Save
be
that shit for
something
save that shit for
fun.
home at home, not in the
Like
car.
like do is something like for example, is cereal better in the morning or at night?
It's
Like
so
just
much
something
better
like
at
that.
night.
Oh, it's so much better at night. It's not even a debate.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to find something that we don't agree on though, that we completely disagree on. And like do something like that. I think that would be a fun episode. And that would be a good episode to have a guest on as well.
Yeah, to get like a third perspective.
Ooh,
would you rather.
we can convince
Ooh.
them.
Would you rather's would be so good. Write that down. Write that down.
Write that down. Write that down. Yeah. Yeah,
All
y'all,
right.
everybody that's listening, our 2 audience members that's listening, y'all let us know what any
Shout out
good
to the real
episode
ones who
ideas.
actually listen every week. We love you very much.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
that actually have come to this point in the episode.
Well, if you've gotten this far, thank you so much. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Follow us on Instagram if you're not already, just in case we post some updates. And we will see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye, it's been a blast.
Bye.